Hello guys, it's Eugene813 here, and it's May 15th, which means it's time for the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Tonight is the Capitals versus Bruins series, plus a regular season game. Won't get into that. Um, and so I guess it's time to maybe give my predictions. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Obviously, some of these are definitely going to be wrong because it's just the way it is. Just hockey's totally random. Goaltending can play a huge role, and that's completely random too. So I might look like an idiot here, but alas, I do it anyway. So let's start with the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Montreal Canadiens. Toronto Maple Leafs are better defensively this year than they've ever been. They're, I think, sixth in the league in goals against, fifth in the league in goals for. And Montreal has been it's been kind of a rocky year. They started off great. They had a really high shooting percentage, but that's since regressed. Goaltending's been kind of weak. Defense has been mediocre. They've had a lot of injuries. They're going to get some guys back, and I think this series will be competitive. I think every game's going to be close, but I just don't see Montreal as being good enough to win enough games. So I'm going to take the Leafs in 5 in that series. Moving on, the other series in the North Division is the Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are a dumpster fire inside a train wreck, inside a hot mess defensively, and Connor McDavid is probably going to carve them up. Hellebuck hasn't been playing as well of late. He could stand on his head, but he would need a legendary performance for the Jets to have a chance in this series. Unfortunately, I don't, and to be honest, I think that this is going to be a sweep for the Oilers. 4 straight games. Moving to the East, we have the Penguins against the Islanders. The good old Islanders. Clutch, grab, and trap. Well, I won't say clutch and grab because that's not really a thing anymore, but the trap Islanders. Amazing defensively. Just wear you down. Great playoff hockey. I should have learned my lesson from last year when they took it all the way to the conference finals. But I see the Penguins as just being a little bit too good for them. I see the Penguins winning this in a hard fought. I think it's going to be 7 games, and I think the Penguins are going to win in 7. We're going to see Crosby in the second round. Crosby's had an amazing year. Although I do kind of worry about their goaltending, although Tristan Jarry has gotten better of late. Not exactly a proven playoff performer, but I think the Penguins will end up winning in 7. The next series, the Boston Bruins against the Washington Capitals. The Boston Bruins did not have that great of a start to the season, but they then traded for Taylor Hall, and since then that second line has been going great. That Krejci and Hall and Smith line. They now have a good amount of secondary scoring, and McAvoy and Grzelcyk, that's a very underrated top pair. Great metrics for them. I think they're solid in net. Rask is always good. They have other options in Swayman, who's come out of nowhere to back up Halak. I think they're a really solid team, and I think the Caps, I think their goaltending is a little suspect, and I just think their shooting percentage is a bit of a mirage this year, and I think the Bruins are better, and I think the Bruins will beat them in 6 games. So next, we go on to the Lightning against the Panthers. This one I really went back and forth on because the Lightning are getting Kucherov and Stamkos back, and they're really, really just a machine. They won the Cup last year. But the Panthers are also, they're really good this year. They're the real deal. They've made tons of great moves, adding Carter Verhaeghe and Anthony Duclair in the offseason. Drieger has been good. And that's, I think, the reason why I'm picking the Lightning in 7 and not, say, the Panthers in 7 is apparently Quenneville is going with Bobrovsky in Game 1, which doesn't really make sense since I think he has a .907 save percentage and Drieger has a .927 save percentage. I don't know. I think they should be going with Drieger, and I think that'll be a mistake that will cost them the series. I think they'll lose in 7, but I think they'll definitely show that they're worthy of being there. The next series, the Carolina Hurricanes against the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators have gone on a nice little run. They went like 28-1 or something like that towards the end of the year to get that last playoff spot. But Carolina, they're a machine. They have Nedeljkovic and Mrazek in net, great net minders, good defense. Dougie Hamilton, super underrated, and they have a good, solid group of forwards from Svechnikov to Aho. I mean, it's a very solid group they have in Carolina, and they're very underrated, to be honest, because we talk about the Avalanche or the Toronto Maple Leafs or all these teams, and we just never really give due credit to the Carolina Hurricanes. Then next series we have. Oh, sorry, I have the Hurricanes in 5 in that series. I do think Nashville will squeak out a game, but I think that the Hurricanes are the better team. Next up is the Avalanche against the. The Avalanche against the Blues, the 2019 Stanley Cup champions. This one, I mean, the Avalanche, their expected goals for this year was north of 60%. Since 2007, 2008, no other team ever has gotten above 58%. They have Cale Makar on the blue line. They have Grubauer in net, who's been a top 5 goalie in the league, in my opinion, super underrated. They have McKinnon, Renton, and Landeskog, that amazing line. They have some depth scoring at forward. They're just better than the Blues in every way. And don't get me wrong, Perron and O'Reilly have had great years. The Blues had a nice run to get back in the playoffs. They've been better of late, but let's face it, the Avalanche are just much better than the Blues. And honestly, I really think the Avalanche are going to win the Stanley Cup, but we'll get to that when we get there. Then the last series of the first round is the Golden Knights against the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov, all this amount of fun. I think they're a decent team. I think they might actually be a little worse than the record suggests because I think they have the highest PDO in the league this year. So I don't know how much longer they can keep that up for. I mean, it's definitely the upgrade in net really hasn't been talked about enough. They went from Devin Dubnyk, who's pretty bad, to Cam Talbot, who's been really solid for them. And it's kept their goals against down, and it's allowed them to have a really good record. But I see the Golden Knights as just being a better team in general than them. I think the Wild have played a bit over their heads this year. I think the Wild are definitely going to make this a series. I think this is going to go 7 games. But I think in the Fortress for Game 7, I think Vegas is winning that and moving on to the second round. So those are my first round predictions. Hopefully at least some of them aren't stupid. And I guess we'll be back here for the second round to see how many of them I got wrong and, predictions further on. But I'm really excited to see playoff hockey be back this year because it's really, really, really amazing to, have the fans in the building. At least we'll have fans in the building in the U.S., not in Canada, unfortunately, but just every second matters, every goal matters. It's just a lot more fun than regular season hockey, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying it. I hope you will too, and I'll see you all next time.